All right, it says we're live. I believe we're live. Welcome to Bandwagon Wednesday here in Raiderland. We'll let some folks get in. You know what to do. The early arrivals, your job duties are specific yet simple. Let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Give us thumbs ups, give us hearts, give us whatever. You can say something in the say something box and advance the discussion that way and let us know that we're all ready to get on down the road tonight. Those of you watching on X, watching on YouTube, use the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197 as we hang out with you for a little while tonight here in the Arctic Air Studios. Brought to you today by Thacker Jewelry, celebrating 50 years in the Hubaplex. They've got a great selection when you walk in. The cool stuff they do is all custom there at Thacker. I mean, that's what you really want to look at is the custom designs they can create. And then, of course, Gators Bayou, 98th and Slide Road. Brunch on Sundays. Don't miss it. All right, we'll let you guys get in today. It's Bandwagon Wednesday. The ones you're on, the ones you're off. The talking box is indeed on. Craig, Chris, hi there. Damon, Randy watching today. Don't forget you guys can share this and invite some folks in as well. Get them going on the program. Easy thing to do. A little Texas Tech football tonight. Ask Coach Hyatt. I play the role of a generic coach answering generic questions. If you have a question for Joey McGuire or Caslin or Kelly or anybody, ask them. But if you want to ask Coach Hyatt, I will answer in generic coach speak, and then I might tell you what the coach really wants to say. So get it on the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197 tonight. And then I don't know what else. I'm just fighting the allergies pretty wicked today. We babied the voice on Monday. If I hadn't done that, I don't think I'd had a voice today. So we're going to fight through it. We're going to get there. That's pretty good. All right, let's do this. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans. All you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com. Check out the website every day. Question of the day. Get your day started with our Raiderland hot links. We had a really cool Joe Ely live video from Farm Aid driving to the poorhouse in a limousine. That is a quintessential Joe Ely song. That is, you hear it on the album and you go, that's a good song. You hear it live and you go, this may be the greatest song I've ever heard live. You know, there are a few, more than a few like that for Joe Ely, where good studio album presence. Letter to Laredo, still one of the best studio albums I think I've ever heard cut, but everything is so much cooler live. So, yeah, check that out. We'll drive into the poorhouse in a limousine, which I believe is also done live on Live at Liberty Lunch, which was recorded there at Liberty Lunch in Austin in 1990. So, yeah, Bandwagons, we had that on the website. Really cool links this morning. Want you to check them out. And if you come across cool stuff during the day, send it our way. We'll put it in next day's run. You can link to it in the comments section, whatever you want to do. So we got that. We got bandwagons. It doesn't have to be sports. Could be. Doesn't have to be. I'm off the bandwagon of my dogs waking up at 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning going, hey, full moon. Did you notice there's a full moon? We should really go crazy right now, which they did last night. Don't know. I don't know why, but they did. But you love them, right? You still love the dogs. And then there's this little Texas Tech and Houston game where Houston, and we can talk about last night, we asked, biggest concerns. I think maybe tonight we can talk about level expectation for Baron Mort and what do you expect to see. It's like having a newborn, Although if your newborn is barking and howling at the moon, perhaps it's time to bring in a priest. I'm not saying just maybe it's time to bring in a priest. We can talk about quarterback play tonight if you want to. Morton's got to look better than he did last week, right? Full week as QB1, right? He's got to look better, at that level of play. Or do you put it all on Taj Brooks and run the ball? However you want to play it. I do find it interesting. Houston does not move the needle for Texas Tech fans and really hasn't ever from a rivalry standpoint. We have to be very careful when we say rivalry. They're not our rivals. I can't have, Tech fans should absolutely hate Houston from the games in the 70s and through the 80s, even on into the early 90s. The Tech fans should hate Houston, that there should be good sports hate. that it should engender an in-state rivalry. Houston kept you from going to the Cotton Bowl, which could have been huge trajectory for the program in 1976. A Cotton Bowl appearance that year could have set some things in motion. I wrote an alt history piece about it maybe 10 years ago. I might go into it tonight if you guys are good. If you guys are good, I might go into the alt history of what happened when Rodney Allison was not picked off in the end zone in 76. I think Morton looking good, hinges on the offensive line looking better. That and some run game. That and some guys catching passes and him throwing better passes. David is watching, and he hates Cougar High. Good. It's hard to hate one Andre Ware. It's easy to hate Andre Ware. I mean, you can if you want to. Hated the run and shoot. Unstoppable for a while. They had a great, they called it the super back. Chuck Weatherspoon. It's funny you mentioned the run and shoot in that. I was thinking about that today when I was thinking about driving. I was driving down the road because I think about what I would do, with Tech's offense and how I would always have a back in the backfield for a lot of different reasons in this offense. And that Weatherspoon back in 88, 89, just absolutely gashed teams to the tune of about, I'm just going to throw it in, like 7 yards a carry as a single back because they couldn't account for him. He was a big, strong back. And almost any time they wanted 7 yards, they just gave it to Weatherspoon and he had it. That the element of the run and shoot, the element of the K-gun, which was a byproduct of the run and shoot, the K-gun there in Buffalo, running back. It's always running back. Even in this era where the running back is undervalued in the NFL, and by that we may mean not undervalued, but they just realize, why should we pay a guy a whole bunch of money who's going to be done in 3 years? It's properly valued. But you got to have a good one. 93 on SMU. Yeah, what was that? In 89, when the first year back, they hung a huge number on Forrest Gregg, and SMU was PO'd. Haven't cared about Cougar High since Robert Newhouse, all the way back to the early 1970s. Hated I already read that one. Hate Houston in general without Cougar High being there. Houston is just not a part of Texas. It's funny you mentioned that because someone was talking about that on the radio earlier. Get your bandwagons in. Let's talk a little Tech football. And it is Ask Coach Hyatt night. Get your questions in for Coach Hyatt. A generic coach answering generic questions in a generic manner. How long will it take Chad Hasty? He's a guy who people, if you're outside the market, you may not know, even though he's on Around Texas, does a show on KFYO in the evenings. Political show. How long will it take Hasty to go full-blown Hasty after dark tonight at his presidential debate watch party? Depends on if his wife's there or not. If his wife is there, he's liable to get out of control because she'll give him a ride home. And by out of control, I mean he'll be asleep by 9:45. The dude goes to bed early. Hey, Rod, good to see your name pop up. Is Houston responsible for 2 offenses, the Houston Veer and the run and shoot? Yeah. Yeah, I'll give him credit for that. And it was it was Mickey Herskowitz who named the Wishbone the Wishbone. On the Texas Rangers bandwagon, again, they just won't die. There's no logical reason that they should be hanging on with a bullpen as bad as their bullpen is. Horrifically, epically bad. Injuries to multiple starting pitchers. Injuries to Josh Young. There is no reason they should be, yet here they are. It's almost like having a really good leader like Bruce Bochy who knows how to manage and not just look at analytics and go, well, as OPS and WAR on this day, we should do that. Oh, what happened? Something happened in the game. I was looking at my chart. They're not supposed to pitch until I'm done looking at my chart. That's almost like having a real manager matters. And a guy who can manage veterans and young guys alike. The clubhouse is not really that young. No pun intended with Josh. It's really not that young. Some inexperience when it comes to postseason play for some of them, though. Houston, Baghdad on the Bayou. Chad Hasty on his show earlier, I guess there's some story out on like ranking Texas cities as the most Texan city. And the discussion turned on Houston or Dallas, which is really a race to the bottom to get to Austin, which is the least Texas city of all Texas cities. The capital should be moved. I agree with Cody Canada. Capital of Texas ought to be in Pampa. Only place a house that big belongs. Houston or Dallas, which is more Texan as a city? I don't know. They're both trying not to be real Texan. these days. Michael, off watching the Rangers this year, bandwagon. Even if they win the West, they don't have the bullpen to compete against Tampa Bay and Orioles. See, this is a real Ranger fan. Always guarding against the potential letdown. You guys can get in on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. Join us tonight on that. Thank you, United Supermarkets. Bandera is the most Texas city cowboy bar. Houston city leadership is as cuckoo as San Francisco. They try. Houston, says one texter, is an athletic recruiting mecca. It's more Texan than Dallas with the Houston stock show alone. You don't even have to count oil, energy, or blue-collar toughness to the mix. And good seafood, and Texas has good seafood. Capital should be in Abilene, says David. Nah. I mean, I'd go to Anson before I'd go to Abilene. Anson's got a pretty cool courthouse. You can modify that. I mean, we're going to move it around. Houstonians keep re-electing Sheila Jackson Lee. Yeah, that's a downside. I don't know. Like I said, both cities are trying not to be as Texan as possible. Bandwagons, you're on. Bandwagons, you're off. I'm off a bandwagon tonight. The Anson Light. Is that a new beer? Anson Light? I'll have an Anson Light. I'm off watching a debate that has a bunch of people who aren't going to win the race that they're debating each other about trying to win because the guy who's going to win isn't there. What do we do? Is this like practice for 2027? Off the analytics bandwagon. Analytics and time and place, I have no problem with analytics. Always been around, always been a part of it. Dallas Cowboys, pioneers in analytics in the 60s and early 70s. But you still got to, make decisions. Let's see. River Oaks and Memorial Village run Houston. Might vote blue, but they have no power. They sure get some people elected, though, down there. Bandwagon, I'm on. Free food for teachers thanks to Alliance Federal Credit Union. We're cooking burgers, friendship teachers today. And, our friends at Abuelos, they got that, free queso for the year. You go and you get the little keychain thing. And because teachers, well-known lovers of queso. It's a fact. 100%. Trying to think what time I took. Yeah, the last round of Benadryl is running out right about now. I did a bad job on that. Olton should be the state capital. It would be fitting if Olton could become the state capital. They were the county seat up until Littlefield in the middle of the night stole the damn courthouse, literally. Came in like the Baltimore Colts leaving for Indianapolis, stole everything. My grandfather was able to hide away a desk and a chair from the courthouse. And the details are sketchy on how all of it took place, but it currently resides in my home as we speak. Those bastards from Littlefield, my dad hated them. Then they knocked him out his senior year. On the run, the Bell bandwagon. State capital, Earth, Texas. Not Spring Lake, but Earth. I'm so convinced that if Sam Houston were alive today and he saw Houston, he'd demand that they take his name off the city. New capital, Seymour. Nothing would ever get done. Everybody be waiting for their food there at the world's slowest Dairy Queen in Seymour. So that wouldn't work out. Bandwagons, Tech football. What do you think you'll see out of the offense? What do you think you'll see out of Baron Morton? We hope that Baron Morton will not be seen running the football very often. And then any hatred, any good sports hate for Houston. It could be a rivalry. I've said before, out of the new teams coming in, if I had to choose one that Tech played every year, I'd go Houston. All right, we'll go Houston. We'll do that. They hurt you. They cost you. There's history, even though I guess it's ancient history, depending on how you look at it. But they cost you. By the way, at this point in the proceedings, you can share this. You can invite people in. And you can start firing away your Ask Coach Hyatt questions every week. Ask Coach Hyatt. Questions for a generic coach, I will answer in a generic way. Again, don't ask me questions that you want like tech coaches to answer. That's not what this is. It's not a bit. I'm not playing the role of Joey McGuire. What's the difference between the Dairy Queen and Seymour, the state capital? No, really. What's the difference? Outlaw Barbie, man, I've driven by that place a million times. Seymour is one of those places where truly, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it's, take a leak and maybe get a burrito and get back on the road. It is typically, if you're going through Seymour, you're going somewhere that you're trying to get to, either going or coming home, that you don't really want to hang around there. And it's really kind of a shame because it looks like a neat little town. You got some old ranch money, you got a little oil money in that part, you got a little bit of something to it. Houston better rival than Xerox U. I would make that argument easily. The fresh seafood grocery stores in Seabrook, Texas, greatness. And we got those here in Lubbock too. It's very good. Very good. Gas station sushi. Highly recommended. Hold on. Who has the awesome dinosaur museum? Seymour? Really? I didn't know that. It's about time Darren got here. Now we can really start the show. Now you guys can fire away. Y'all are doing good. I really didn't plan on going too long tonight. Like I said, just struggling with the allergies and everything else. But I want to be here for you. We'll be here in the morning. TheRaiderland.com. Dairy Queen and Seymour needs to embrace their slowness. Make it a tourist attraction, yeah. Petting zoo, all day. The all-day Dairy Queen. ADDQ. The all-day Dairy Queen. Come for the Hunger Buster. Stay for the kayak ride. Yeah. Let's see, Jared. Coach Hyatt, when will the transfer portal and early signing be available for middle school players? I'm just kidding. That's a great question. It's not? Thought it was. Texas Tech just signed an 8th grader. Chris, 4th and 2 from our own 40. 3 minutes to go, down by 2. All timeouts. Go for it. You can't put me in a vacuum on that question because I need to know how well has the defense been playing, how well has the offense been playing. Has the offense been struggling, but the defense is great? And I need field position that the defense can stop them, and I can get field position. Is all it 100% depends on how the game has been going. The rules today kind of reward you on that a little bit. The Rock In, Good Steak Fingers, and Elvis perform there once, and they have pies. They do pies there at the Rock In. Did you know? Off the text line, noted author Seymour Butts. He's related to IP Freely, I think. Grew up in Seymour. Might have to read his book Under the Grandstands. I miss the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. All those things. Those are funny. Yeah, there are times on Chris's question, 100% I'd go for it. There are times, no, I wouldn't go for it. It is a complete, what I call gutalytics. There's analytics, there's gutalytics. And that's the thing that I think betrays analytics the most, is that all of the ratios, all the numbers, all of the outcomes exist in a vacuum on paper, that they tell you what has happened. They tell you that in certain situations that this has led to this outcome, that we have compiled this data, but none of that data is there that day. Do I have the wind? Do I not have the wind? David, I'm on the gutalytics bandwagon. Yeah. So you've got analytics, but you've also got your gut, and you've also got what's going on. And that's the thing that, again, people are going to misconstrue this. They do this all the time. I'm not anti-analytics. You must have them. You must know them. You need to know them. But you can't live by them because you'll probably die by them. They just don't take into account everything. They give you a good framework. But they don't take into account everything at a given moment. But I fear what they become is very handy excuses for all coaches to say, well, the book said we got to go for 2 here. The old chart. Yeah, the chart said you got to go for 2. In this case, you got to go for 2 here. You know, well, in the analytics, it increased our chances of winning by 32.5%. Well, did it? Not anti-analytics at all. It has a place. It's just merely a tool. It's one more tool in the toolkit. We have a toolkit or a tool chest. Tool chest sounds much better. Got a tool chest. It's just one more thing that you add in, that you factor in. But it's become really handy over the last 5-6 years, though, to just, hey, analytics. What happened there? Analytics. Analytics said do it. Steak fingers sound really good, by the way, Craig, tonight. I just made myself a little poor man's burrito in the kitchen before the show. It's when you get, I don't know if you guys, if those of you who have bad allergies, you know what I'm talking about. You get this kind of perma drainage going on for a few days and nothing tastes good. And you end up, either with like acid reflux or anything like that, where nothing tastes good no matter what you're having. You have to have some leeway to disregard the analytic. Yeah, you absolutely have to be able to be strong enough to throw them out and say no. Didn't realize major league outfielders carry analytics cards now. They carry everything. Everybody's got everything. If you don't make it, it increases the chances of defeat by 64.5%. Do the analytics say you should onside kick the opening kickoff? Asked Tuberville. It'll surprise them. All-American Eatery has strong to quite strong steak fingers and fresh cut fries. Oh, now we're talking with the fresh cut fries. Place in Logan, New Mexico called the Annex that has maybe the greatest steak cut fries, the long cut fries, skin on. It's basically 2 hours and 45 minutes from here, where I am, not where you are. That could be totally different. And it's damn near worth the drive to go over there, eat, and then come back. Oh, you could always get out there on Ute Lake and do some fishing or some water skiing or something like that. Final few minutes of the program today. Bandwagon Wednesday, the ones you're on, the ones you're off. Ask Coach Hyatt today. And we've talked about anything and everything, really, which I love broadcasts like this. We've talked about analytics. We've talked about Texas towns, most Texan towns. Thank you, Chad Hasty. Absolutely not just ripping off his show the day of. Houston or Dallas was what they were talking about on that one. And this is where I feel like I need to sneeze. Buddies and Andrews, yeah, 100% steak fingers. I've told the story before. When I was calling shallow water football about 10 years ago or so, they had a really good run. We're down there playing. I sent the guy who I was working with, and I told him, I said, you don't have to do anything. Your one job, go to Buddies, bring back a ton of steak fingers and gravy, and that's what we're going to eat pregame, and we're going to eat it on the way home, and the truck's going to smell like it on the way home. It's going to be great, and it was. I don't remember anything about the game. I know shallow water won. I couldn't tell you a thing about the game, but I know that Keith went and got the steak fingers and the extra gravy, and life was good. Talking about Dallas for Houston. Houston has more of a soul. Dallas is soulless and a bunch of entitled $30,000 millionaires. The 30,000aires in Addison. Dallas is a jungle. Dallas is a woman who'll walk on you when you're down. I mean, have you guys ever seen Dallas from a DC-9 at night? It's a jewel. It's a beautiful sight. It really is. Off the text line, Coach Hyatt, I've noticed our local college football coach isn't doing a coaches show this year. Does Coach Hyatt like doing shows? Wonder which coach that is. Interesting. Hey, that's a great question. Yeah, let me put it this way. I love meeting with the public. I love meeting with the people. The first thing I do when I get a new job is I disband the booster club, and we get rid of that. And we don't have a booster club. And if I want to talk to anybody, I'll invite them into my office, and we can have a sit down and a talk. But if I see it out and about and whatever, that'll be great. And I'll say a few things at the pep rally. But no, I don't like doing shows. I like coaching football. You want somebody to do shows? I don't know. Hire Ed Sullivan. Dallas had a TV show. The Ewings certainly didn't live in Houston. With each order, you get 1 pound of meat at Buddy's. It's unbelievable. See, we've gone into steak finger talk as well. So this is good. Tomorrow, all right, because we're kind of running out here, and it takes a little bit to get through this. On the alt history deal, I'll tell the story tomorrow. You guys remind me. Sometimes I forget. I will tell the story tomorrow of what happened in 1976 when Texas Tech beat Houston, and what all took place after Texas Tech won that game, because it was earth-shattering. It really was pretty amazing what transpired and everything that went on there after Texas Tech beat Houston. It was pretty crazy. Crazy stuff. Alt history. Huge fan of alt history. Anyone ever read a Harry Turtledove novel? Any of his work? Houston or Dallas, more Texan? I'll have to report back to Chad Hasty that we couldn't come to a conclusion on this. Both of them trying not to be Texan. There are many more Texan cities around the state than either one of them. We'll break out into some more. Let's see. We talk about the defense tomorrow, but I was going to do a deal tonight on third baseman passing to Brooks Robinson. I was fortunate enough to grow up, be a kid in the 70s, and I didn't realize. May have lived in the golden era of like Major League Baseball third baseman. Unbelievably great third baseman. You just thought Brooks Robinson, like that was normal, right? Everybody made plays 15 feet on the foul side of third base and threw guys out from their knees. You had Nettles there in New York. Buddy Bell was an incredibly underrated third baseman there with the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Indians. You had great third basemen all over the place back in the day. Defense, that was an era where defense in baseball still mattered as much or more as offense did. That players were complete baseball players. And I dare say better athletes. And this gets into a really interesting discussion. That if you go back through the 50s and 60s, baseball was still attracting the better athletes. The guys who could have played basketball, baseball, football, whatever. Baseball was the route that was where the money was still. It wasn't until the 70s that you saw football eclipse it, basketball, but your best athletes in America, 40s, 50s, 60s, played baseball. And it showed. Now, I'm not saying today that the athlete of Major League Baseball is substandard or subpar. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. I'm saying the best of the best were baseball players. Almost all of them were multi-sport athletes, too, if you go back and look at it. But yeah, Brooks Robinson is good. And I got to watch these guys growing up, thinking, this is normal, right? This is what we had. No, absolutely. Jal, New Mexico is more Texan than Houston. I don't know about that, man. It's hard to say out loud. I'll definitely give you Jal over Eunice. We'll do that. Fort Worth is doing good as a Texan city, too, these days. I got to applaud them on that. All right, we've had fun. Tomorrow, the story of Texas Tech, and they beat Houston in 1976. And what transpires from there. It changes football history at Texas Tech and in the National Football League as well. This is where we say goodbye to the good folks on Twitter X and on YouTube. In the stream, yes.